Hi, good morning. Welcome to day 28 of JanuDAILY. I am trying really hard to ignore the fact that I really don't feel well. And it does not matter how much I affirm the opposite with the words coming out of my mouth and the thoughts that I'm thinking. I am not at 100%, and that is not ideal. However, in better news, you can see back here, I have another loaf of bread in the Instant Pot. It's been in there for 3 hours already, and I'm gonna give it 1 more hour before I do my pre-shaping and set it in the fridge for the cold fermentation and or cold proofing. Is that what it's called? I do believe we are at a much better place with my starter and my dough in general, so I have high hopes for this loaf. I won't bake it till tomorrow, but honestly, when I woke up this morning, I fed my starter last night, and when I woke up this morning, the starter was already overflowing out of the jar. So with that in mind, I did finally order some WEC jars. I ordered 1 liter and then a 1.5 liter jar. Actually, I think I ordered 2 1 liters and 1.5 liter jar, just so that I have the option to kind of switch them out, because I have found washing the jars tricky, not ideal. And they get pretty dirty pretty fast. And so I want to be able to like add new starter into a new jar while I like work on the soaking of the other jar to like get it clean. So I did order those this morning. I ordered them from a site called Magnolia, which is the cheapest I've found those jars, because they're super expensive on Amazon. You can find them through Williams-Sonoma, I think, which is a 6-pack of the 1 liter jars. I think it was like $45, but the shipping brings it to well over, like, I think it's closer to $60, even if you have it shipped to the store, which is ridiculous. They should not be charging you shipping to have it shipped to the store, but they do. And so at Magnolia, I think it was $7 per 1 liter jar. I got the tulip ones, and then I think it was $18 for the 1.5 liter, which I don't know why it was so much more expensive for the 1.5 liter, but either way, still cheaper altogether for 3 of those jars. And I don't think I paid shipping. So anyway, new jars are coming to me because we are very well on this sourdough journey at this point. And you know, why not treat ourselves to some nice new jars? That all being said, at the moment, I've actually had a super productive morning despite not feeling very well. I have 1 more thing that I need to do for my job today. And then I've got that off my to-do list, which is awesome. It's a great feeling to have that done before we've ever even transitioned to the second half of the day. My son is already down for his nap, even though it's only 10:30 at the moment, because somebody decided to wake up in the 5 o'clock hour today. Not ideal, but it works on the days that he has school because I want him to still be able to get a nap in. And I do have quite a bit of stuff that I want to get done for like my stuff. Like I've got some planning I need to do and some like workflows that I need to work out, which is why I love having Notion so much. I hate that it took me so long to get on board with Notion. It seemed so overwhelming at first, and that it wasn't going to be worth trying to like migrate all my information. It's been so worth it. It's so easy to use. It's so easy for me to like build out routines that make my life so much easier. Oh, it's like my brain in visual form, and it just makes everything so much easier. So I'm gonna try to map a bunch of that stuff out. Maybe I'll go get back in bed and do that. I'm gonna pack my son's snack just so that everything that I need for like the second half of the day is already done. And I'm debating whether or not I'm even gonna bother with makeup. Part of me feels like I should, because I think it would make me feel better. But then there's another part of me that's just like, you have the option not to have to do that. I think I'm just gonna give myself the option to not do it and let that be okay. So I hope a full-on makeup-less day is okay with you. I have a feeling it is, because I have a feeling if you're here, you're my kind of people, and the more real, the better for me. Like I want the real. Like I don't want some curated content BS. I wanna know, I'm nosy, number 1, so I wanna know everything, but I also wanna know the reality of everything, which also the dog drinking water is the most realistic thing in the world because she's constantly drinking water. But okay, let's make some productivity happen. tortellini soup is so good that I've been looking forward to eating it for lunch today since lunch yesterday, and I was looking forward to eating it for lunch yesterday from the night before. That was such a hit recipe. I was a little unsure about it because it had a whole bunch of things in it that I'm not always super keen on eating. I'll link the recipe down below. It is definitely going to be a new staple in our house. Plus it just makes so much food and it's pretty inexpensive to make. So definitely recommend if you're looking for like another really quick meal to add into your weekly rotation. Super, super recommend. Very yummy. Obviously, I did decide to put on a little bit of makeup. I just needed to I don't know, I'm in sweats, I'm in a little jumpsuit, so I'm definitely not dressing the part, but I felt like I needed to dress for the job I wanted. I want to be able to feel like I'm a functioning human right now, and I don't really feel like I'm a functioning human. So at the very least, I can look like I'm a functioning human, and maybe that'll trick my brain into thinking I'm a functioning human. Does anybody else do that? I feel like that's one of the mental tricks I do on myself for my mental health, which actually I had a DM yesterday about the whole reframing or rephrasing the fact that I was saying yesterday I'm so tired, and then I changed it to I'm awake and excited for the day, about how that kind of stuff does or doesn't work. And honestly, that's one of the things that I would say that I do the most as far as trying to keep, I don't want to say, wait, you know what? It's one of the things I do, a small thing that I do that has one of the biggest impacts on my mental health is I try to reframe a situation to see the positive in it rather than complaining about it, which obviously we're humans. We're going to complain about things. We're going to have things to complain about. And I'm not talking about toxic positivity where you're completely ignoring the problems of your life. It's just more of an attempt to reframe your focus, right? And yesterday it really did work. Even up until the time that I was going to bed, I never felt tired for the rest of the day. I don't think I can trick myself into not being sick, but I can make the best of the day that's in front of me despite not feeling my best. And right now, that's being really excited to eat some yummy soup. Also being very excited to see how my Instapot proofing goes on my bread, which I will have the opportunity to pre-shape and get in the fridge before we have to leave for my son to go to school. So I'm very excited about that. It is time to shape the sourdough. Let's hope this worked. I'm gonna flour my surface. A navy jumpsuit might not have been the right move for a day that I was going to be baking, but it's fine. I might have to change before we do the school drop off, honestly. All right, I have no idea how this is going to work. And I'm just going to lower you. Let's see. It definitely stuck to the parchment paper quite a bit, which now I'm understanding why they say to, I guess, coat it with olive oil. I am full of sugar, of flour. I don't know that I'm gonna be able to wear this. I also think that I should be spritzing it with water because there were some dry sections of it, but I've got her pre-shaped. She looks pretty good. I'm gonna give her 20 minutes to hang out on the counter, and then I will shape her one last time and throw her in the basket. Kid's waking up from a nap, so I gotta go. Time for another round of shaping. So let's do that and get this in the fridge. Well, the fake it till you make it actually worked for today. So getting up, getting dressed, putting makeup on definitely made a difference. And I've continued to have a super productive day work-wise, which was awesome. Kept me feeling, I don't know, better than I think I actually felt. So I came home. I actually made shrimp burger for dinner, not the kind that you're thinking of. It's essentially, I made essentially a shrimp po' boy on a on a burger bun because we got stuck in traffic on the way home, and the idea of making what I had planned for dinner felt impossible. So we had burger buns, and I had fried shrimp, and I had the shrimp taco sauce that I usually use made in like a big batch in the fridge. So I just threw that onto a burger bun and ate that for dinner. And now I actually think that I'm gonna try to walk for a little while. I'm either going to try to listen to a little bit more of the Bethany Joy Lenz book, Dinner with Vampires. I know I talked about it in a video a couple days ago. It's such a gripping story, but it's also so heartbreaking because you're falling in love with her as a person through the entire narrative. She's such a great performer, but also you're just seeing how, I don't know, like how easy it is to be manipulated into things and how people will use the things you want the most as leverage to take like just grotesque advantage of you. And if you watched One Tree Hill, or if you knew anything about Bethany Joy Lenz, I would recommend reading it, but not reading it, listening to it on audiobook. If you have Spotify, it's included in premium, which is how I listen to most of my audiobooks. And she's such an incredible performer. I'm enjoying it so much. I think that's what I want to do for the rest of this evening. I am not sure how I feel about the fact that Friday is the last JanuDAILY vlog. It'll go up on Saturday, but the last day I'm vlogging. If I'm being completely honest, this has been so much fun and has served exactly the purpose I hoped it would serve, but it has also served even greater purpose than I could have anticipated. So I'm really glad that I did it. And if you're feeling like you're in a bit of a rut, or like you've always wanted to vlog but never really allowed yourself to commit to it, just try a month. It's a lot of work. Do not get me wrong. It is a ton of work. And I feel like you guys can watch me like run out of steam as we're getting close to the end here. It's been a very heavy few months just in general. Like in my personal life, there has been a lot of really big and heavy things that I've been navigating through, which already just on their own are emotionally exhaustive. But add in the physical exhaustion of this type of project, I am just worn out. Like I am full blown worn out, but worn out with a really grateful heart. So I appreciate those of you that have been like hanging out with me all month long. Like I really appreciate it. I don't know why I'm talking about this like it's the end. It's not the end. We still have several days left. I'm very excited to bake my loaf of sourdough tomorrow morning. I have hope that is that how you do it? I have hope that it will come out great. I dropped off a sourdough starter, what do they call it when it's a plant? Like a propagation? I don't think it's what that's called, but if you remember earlier in the vlogs, I had given part of my sourdough starter to my friend Cheyenne. I now also gave a sourdough starter to my brother-in-law. So I like that, like this little hobby, which was totally sparked by my friend Heather because she brought the most delicious sourdough loaf to our Friendsgiving a couple of months ago, has just kind of brought me really close to some people in my life to have this like shared hobby. But also it's been really fun to have something to focus on and to have something to be learning and exploring and trying that is so unserious, but also offers great reward because at the end of it, there's bread, which is great. It doesn't require a lot of like mental capacity, but does challenge you. And so that's another thing, like, not that this is me giving you advice on your mental health, but you all know I've been struggling with the mental health. I just would encourage you to find something kind of like that. Like it doesn't have to be sourdough, but like find something that you've been wanting to learn to do and teach yourself to do it. With the world of the internet, I would argue that there's not much you can't teach yourself. YouTube has everything you could ever possibly need to know. I learned how to crochet on YouTube, which I would like to get back into that at some point too. You know, with all of my free time. I do have this kit that a good friend of mine gave me a couple of years ago of the Friends cast that you can like crochet. Maybe at some point in the future you'll find a video on this channel of me trying to figure out how to actually crochet those things. But anyway, that's just my little encouragement to find something to just let your brain play. and run free and be creative, but it be something that's so unserious. It's not a money maker. It's not any of those things. It's just our brains are meant to have play. Like, we forget that as we get older. And obviously, given everything that I'm learning with my son right now, I'm learning just how important play is for his development and his growth. And I think we forget to play as adults, which is why I think it's so important. Like, why people say like having children is such a valuable part of life. Because if you guys know me in real life, you know that pretty much up until we decided to have my son, we were team no kids. And everybody around us, not that we were team no kids, let me rephrase that. We answered that we were not having children. Like, it wasn't in the plans for us if ever anybody asked us if we wanted kids. Because our rule of thumb was, if it wasn't a hell yes, then it was a no. And up until that point, it wasn't something we were like super confirmed that was something we wanted to do. So to avoid the constant nagging from families, we just would say that like we didn't want kids when people would ask us, so that it didn't keep coming up, which it never did. It worked. And then when we got pregnant and we were like, surprise, everyone thought it was an oops, and it definitely was not. It was a very planned thing. But we did get a couple of people in the years, because we were married for 11 years before we had children. And in those years, we did sometimes get people tell us like, oh, you miss out on a world of play when you don't opt to have children. And I would argue that you can still find play as an adult, even without children. But anyway, all of this to say, that's gonna be it for me today. I am, like I said, gonna hop on this treadmill for a little while and just listen to an audiobook, zone out, take my shower, read in bed. If you guys resonated with this content at all, or you just feel like we could be friends, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, comment down below, and let me know what you do to play. And if you don't do something to play, what's something you would like to do to play. And I'll see you guys all again tomorrow. Bye.